So welcome everyone. I think we'll have to take turns in raising. Whenever anybody has a question, please use the right side menu, raise a hand, and we can take your questions, and then we can take it forward. So until the next question comes, I'll have Subranil as well on to give me company.
Thank you so
In,
much.
in place of Kiran, right? So I think Kiran, talk to me about this amazing group that all of you have put together, and you guys have come together as a community to really take this interior design community forward. And I'm excited to be part of this and explore how I can help many of you to achieve more success, and thereby all of us succeed together, right?
Wonderful.
So a quick introduction to myself. I run a company called Pitch Camp, and I also run a technology consulting company called Agwai Solutions. Pitch Camp is an initiative to bring in new sales strategies and approaches, where we also bring in concepts of applied theater. On how do you pitch, how do you create a story around what you want to sell, so that it's a more engaging conversation with your customers. So we help companies on your sales pitch. We help companies with their investor pitch, especially for tech companies, and on your sales journey, on your sales strategy consulting. If you're planning to deploy tools, we help you to evaluate which tools is the best suited for your business, right? Because a lot of tools customers buy because of lack of options in the market, that the companies don't reach businesses like you with different options, and you end up choosing a tool that might have limitations for your type of business or workflows. So these are some of the areas that we do. And Kiran and I have known each other, I think, for last 2 years now. We are part of another startup group, and that's how we know each other. And so he said, why don't you come to this group and help share some thoughts, and help us acquire some new knowledge on sales. So all of you are business owners, so all of you are already doing business. So I'm sure something is working. There's always room for improvement. Uh, it's my humble attempt to share whatever I know. I'm also learning every day. So I want to keep this conversation as a free flow. I have put some structure, but I'm really not doing any training or anything per se today, because I don't know your core objectives or your core challenges. So if you can take the first 5 minutes, we can do a quick. We are a small team here. Each one of us can do a quick introduction and talk and tell me your top three challenges today from a sales or a marketing point of view, right? So then I can structure my presentation, short presentation which I've made. I can tailor it accordingly.
Wonderful. So before me, I think that Raj Lakshmi, you want to start with? Raj Lakshmi?
Yeah, you will have to click on the raise hand, and and then you will get opportunity to speak.
Or Riksha, you want to go?
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Vimlesh.
Yes.
Hi, hello.
Diksha.
Everybody can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm an architect. It's been 5 years that I've been practicing, and I mainly work on. So here I have a Bangalore in Hexa layout. So um, um, my three points probably would be in terms of sales and marketing. Even though we get references and our business through references, the main challenge is certain companies in the market loud and have experience, and they are like on marketing, and I don't have an experience center, or I don't have like a show flat or something to show up to the client. All of them, these little drawbacks, that the scale of business you see, we are nowhere in comparison. That's a very big company, just a studio. But these little points are actually probably becoming for us. For anybody who my skill. All right. So what would actually make what the genuine needs in the market something that I would like to know.
Okay. I had challenge in hearing your audio. So let me rephrase what I understood, right? So correct me if I understood it wrong.
Okay.
So you're a new and upcoming architect, and today you're getting a lot of references, but you're having challenges to give them a house walkthrough or a project walkthrough because you don't have enough houses to showcase.
No, it's more. It's not that way. What I'm telling is, our challenge would be comparison between two scales of a company. A company,
Of a company, yes.
yes, there is like a big shot company, all right, who are to be all over the market, all right, and we are there who are just starting up with.
Sure.
It's all the same client who's a little genuine, who's got decent data and stuff like that. If they are trying to compare both of us, then what sort of pitch we could have so that
Sure.
they
Sure.
getting
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, this is a problem all of us face, right? Young
yeah.
companies versus very large firms. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for this question. I'll look to address this. Yeah.
Sure. I can lead the phase.
Yes. Anybody else? Next person, please. Please use the raise hand on the right side. We'll try to do this quick. We are already 5:20. I'm not sure how much time you guys have, but we'll like to cover as much as possible. Yeah, Shubhranjan.
Yeah, sure. So, Vimlesh, kind of little bit of profile I also do have like yours. So I support startups and all those, but my bread earner is definitely my interior solution business. It's been there for last 13 years. So I've been managing it, and my partner and my wife, she is a chief designer, and she takes care of the design part, and I take care of the business part actually. And definitely, I think the probably what Priksha was also talking about, and but the other scale is different. For us, actually, getting a reference business is not that difficult, but it's always like a word of mouth. But when it comes to scale, definitely, and when the kind of actual discussion we were having on the WhatsApp, Bimlesh, the same
Correct.
thing. If we can have a lot of lead generation. Is that a lot of like Quicker actually tries to give us, the parent circle try to give us, and Just Dial try to give us. They are not quality leads. And when it comes down also, then it turns out to be like 3-4 lakhs rupees kind of interior business and all. That means doesn't make justice to how we do it, because our market segment is like more of a self living, which is very tastefully done, very mindfully done, and people should be having fun to live in that house. So lead generation, quality lead generation, definitely is a challenge when it comes to this. And definitely the second part is that is the unnecessary price war which is there in the market. Is that we give it something, then they go out to something. It's like a lot of pre-sales effort, which we feel that it's not required. A third one is that how we can organize this market by automation, by this. I'm not sure whether the market and the client, both the parties are ready to actually be matured to that level that we understand that yes, automation is required and it can bring in a lot of efficiency. So these are the three things that quality lead generation, and the price war and the automation.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Wonderful. I think Ram, can you try raising your hand again, please? Yes, Mr. Ram.
Hi, sir. Good evening. I'm
Hi, good
basically
evening.
a factory person on a modular factory.
Right.
So I would like to how like or give suggestions to work on from a factory base, pitch in a factory and sell. Would you suggest that we do pitch in a factory and sell or tie up with interior designer for sales, or how do we go about the sales? So just wanted to ask regarding that.
Okay. Sure. So I think sure. I have noted on your question. I'll look to address that when I walk through
Okay,
some
okay.
points. Right. Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Venspal is on the mobile. Mr. Haricharan or Sudhir, you can click on the right raise hand and quickly. Okay. So I think, if there are no more questions, I think let's get started and then we can take on further questions that come up, right? So what I'll do is I'll quickly share my screen. Let me know once you're able to see my screen. You can put it on your chat window. Are you able to see my screen? If you can just type yes, yes, wonderful. All right. So what? So thanks so much. I think we've got 3 people introducing and got some questions here. I think this just helps to set the conversation a little better. So essentially, what you're trying to do is, in this session, I'm going to give you some basic information on what we can do and how some of the new ways are there in the market, new tools that one can use to stay competitive and also to grow your business today. Right. So we all know that interior design does not exist as an industry per se, but comes under the larger real estate umbrella, right? So Kiran was telling me that you're at 25,000 crore at a minimum. You're at 25,000 crore industry. Just in South India or just in Karnataka alone. So that's a pretty huge number, given that there are so many homes and offices, and people want to explore making their workspaces a lot more better. So the first thing that I want to address is who is your trying to understand your customer, right? As to who is your customer. I think all of us we learn this through our journey. We say that we want to sell to anyone and everyone, but that's truly not the case. I'll come and tell you why. Understanding who your customer is extremely important, right? And what are your characteristics of your customer? Where do they buy, your your product or a service? When do they buy this? How do they buy? And who is the best alternate to your services, right? So I think this whole analysis, each one of us have to do as business owners at every point in time to understand, when there's a technology shift happening, even in the interior industry. For example, I just saw that amazing modular furniture picture on the WhatsApp group, right? Now, when these modular furniture, especially with a lot of apartments coming in, and now with work from home, people, there could be this new demand of, such modular furniture coming in. So with every new technology coming into the market, there is going to be the shift of consumer buying behavior, right? Customers will change their ideas and tastes on what they like and what they want. So we always need to keep understanding and doing this activity, right? So this is an ongoing activity that we need to focus on who is our customer, where do they buy from, when do they buy, how do they buy. When I mean as how do they buy online, do they buy offline? When they buy offline, do they buy ready-made or do they get it custom made? These are all the things that we need to look for. From a when do they buy perspective, it's all about, do we buy, do they buy when things get broken, when you're buying a new house? Is it after a certain event of a time in our house or office? So those occasions make a difference on the timing of when do we buy these services. So typically, as you are aware, you have some of you. So this again falls into your customer segmentation. To which customer base are you selling? Are you selling to businesses? If so, what is your business? The segment of business. Are you selling to small stores? Are you selling to small offices? Are you selling to co-working spaces? Are you selling to large offices, mid-size offices, factories? So your B2B definition range of customers that you're going to be selling to, you got to refine it so that you know exactly whom you're going to be targeting. If you're targeting B2C, which is your business to consumers, there again you need to segregate what type of consumers are you talking about. Are you talking, are you talking about single women? Are you talking to large families, small families, NRIs? Are you talking to business owners, and so on and so forth? Business to institutions is like, you're selling to schools, colleges, large campuses, and so on. And the last one is your B2G, right? Business to government. I know a couple of interior companies that does only to B2I and B2B, right? Though the payment cycles are long, but the ticket sizes are also pretty large in these space. So these essentially are some of the activities that you need to do, and you also need to be clear that where are you going to get the maximum amount of business from by doing this targeting. So, in my opinion, there are these four types of customer profiles. I call this as the ABCD of customers. The bottom, what you see actually is the effort to acquire, the x-axis, and the y-axis, which is on the vertical left. You see the customer value. That means your size of your ticket, right? So you have amazing customers, you have your breadwinning customers, you have your convenient customers, and deals only customers, right? So you should spend your maximum amount of energy to crack amazing and breadwinning customers, because that is where your ticket size is also large, and your profitability is also large. The bottom ones are the ones that come automatically to you. Right now, it's your choice whether you want to pick it up or you don't want to pick it up. So you may get a lot of leads, for convenient customers. For example, Subranil might be getting a lot of low value deals. It's your choice whether you want to execute it on your own, or you want to partner with another firm, who can handle that type of budgets and yet still execute it, through them. So convenient customers are you acquire for different reasons. You acquire it, to build a base that today they are a convenient customer, but tomorrow they might move to a breadwinning customer. The deals only customers are customers who have a specific behavior with them, right? That they always, they're only deal shoppers. They don't buy at any other points in time. So they are extremely price conscious, and they are looking at the best deal possible so that they feel that they have won the purchasing contest that exists out in the market. So use this framework to help determine what type of customers you have right now and what type of customers you would like to have. Right. So the difference between a breadwinning and amazing is, as you see, breadwinning customers are, the effort to acquire them is high, and but the customer value is also high with them. With amazing customers, the cost of acquisition is lower, but they are an amazing customer because the ticket size is also high and the profitability is also high. In an ideal world, you should have at least 50% of your 50 to 60% of your business between amazing and breadwinning customers, and your deals only should, the deals only can, between convenient and deals only can be the rest of the percentage, right? So if you are also selling some ready-made products, right, or ancillary products, those may be some of the products that you may want to also diversify and sell them during special occasion deals, and so on and so forth, right? So I'll come to this important function because we're constantly hearing about leads, and how do I generate activities from a marketing point of view. So marketing is a very important function strategy for lead generation, awareness, and credibility building. In your specific industry, the biggest pain point, I as a customer, and many of my friends as customers who have got our houses done, who have taken up interior design work, I'm sure you must have also faced this. One is what we get, what you commit, and what you deliver, right? Even we as software professionals, when we commit to a project, we are also held accountable on the same. So the entire service industry is held up to the promise of what we commit. Customers demand some amount of services from us with a certain expectation of service experience, right? When these service experience don't get met, that is when there's a dissatisfaction that comes into play. In an execution model, meeting timelines and the quality of the materials that we use, quality of the products that we use become very, very important, right? So marketing is an important strategy on how you generate leads, awareness, credibility building. Sales is only a process to close the deal as per pre-negotiated service delivery firms, right? Why marketing is important today even more, now that all of us are moving into digital, and yet how do you attract leads? The number of people going to meet up physically, at least for rest of this year, is going to reduce drastically, right? So look at definitely going online, making a lot of uh, usage of online tools. You definitely have to explore in getting a website or even a Facebook based website, a good Facebook page, if not a website. Explore having more digital payment options for your business. You should get involved in social media marketing. There are different strategies that if you're a B2C interior design firm, Instagram is more popular than Facebook, right? So if you want to spend money, you should spend money on Instagram marketing versus Facebook marketing. Even if you don't spend money, Instagram is still a better channel to market. Again, depending on your segment, if your consumer segment is less than 40 years old, you should go to Instagram. If your consumers are more than 40 years old, you should look at Facebook as a channel of marketing. Your customer testimonial data that you have is extremely critical during these times, right? On how do you that will help you to close. So customer testimonials today, it's much more easy to record customer testimonials just through your mobile phone when you visit them at the end of a at the end of a project, that you can that you can reuse and put it up on your websites and on social media. Today, with a lot of self video tools available, customer education is also important. That this is called education marketing, right? So if you are in modular furniture, you can always showcase your new ideas of modular furniture that you specialize in bringing to the market, right? If you are a space saving interior designer that you specialize in space saving, you continuously talk and create videos about what are the new ways of creating space. If you're an interior designer that's extremely focused on sustainable living or reuse of producing new products out of waste products, talk about it. Show, you can demonstrate how some of these products are produced and so on. So going digital today is very important than than even just a month ago, right? The whole world has changed. A lot of content is being consumed online. You will, as you know, the lockdown has reduced now and will start moving out slowly. And government has also said that we are going to live with coronavirus for at least for rest of the year until the vaccine is out. So today a lot of decision, and while word of mouth still comes in, lot of decision and research ability is there today with online. So ensure that your company, your brand, your services, your ideas are available online for customers to, one, discover you, to also understand what you do, and also to help you to build your credibility, right? Because nothing, when somebody is parting money with them and giving you a long project, the credibility is very important, that you become trustworthy. So sales essentially at the end of it is an experience with a customer that convinces them to buy from you. It's not about what you do to them, that you are closing a sale, that basically that they have decided to buy from you, right? So at this stage, you got to do everything that will help you map against a sales funnel. Each step, so we typically refer to this on the right side, what you see as a sales funnel. That how do you create awareness about your product or a service. Once a customer shows interest, then what do you do, right? And then helping them arrive at the decision that they want to buy, and then the action is that they actually buy from you. So if you see, I've just mapped them out to your sales and marketing functions here. on, the awareness is all about your marketing, interest is about sales and marketing, decision, action, and post sale is all about the sales process here. So with this overview, we'll look to talk about some of the challenges that each one of you have that couple of you have shared here today, right? So so Preksha had asked about how do small companies pitch to large companies, right? So I'll give you my perspective. So as a young company, we have a great advantage by being fast, nimble. We are able to learn quickly. We are able to adapt quickly. We are also able to deliver faster because the decision making within the organization is also much smarter. Because we are small, we are also hungry for providing a great service to our customers, right? So these are all some of our advantages that we have to use in our communication to our customers. In a large company, yes, they will get stability, but at the same time to execute, and tomorrow if there is a problem, it takes a much more longer for them to resolve. And second, because a larger company, this customer's budget may not be attractive to that larger company. So this is how we see a lot of younger companies win good deals by throwing out these real life scenarios as to how we young companies are more than proactive to serve customers, right? And I've seen this aspect when we bring it into our pitch, when we communicate as to why they should work with us, has a 9 out of 10 chances that the customer might consider us to close that, give us a slightly longer conversation to interact with, right? So that's my opinion there. Subranil asked about, what do I do with quality of leads? So this is, you need to, so my suggestion here is getting leads is great. You have two strategies. One is you handle all the leads. You got to assess the quality of the leads. So you come up with your criteria on the quality of the leads, right? So one ticket size alone may not be a right criteria for choosing a lead, right? Assess the future potential of that lead, right? What's the background of this particular prospect? So if you're a new, if it's a new person who's coming to the city, he has no clue of what's the interior space here. He may not even have had made friends in this space. So a lot of times, a small lead can actually turn into a large business, right? I have Kiran requesting his hand. 1 second. Yeah, Kiran.
Hey, Bimlesh, hi.
Yeah, Kiran, go ahead.
Okay, Bimlesh, no, thanks. I think what we can also do, there are, I think, apart from me and you, there are 14 folks here.
Yes.
Right? Let's take one question from each of them. Because I told you, this is a very shy and quiet kind of a crowd. So you have the name, just ask them and let them give a question, because everybody has a question here, believe me. And what you said is right.
So,
it's like the question for the next 12 months. So just ask everyone, let everyone think. So that will have a meaningful thing. But otherwise, I think you got it spot on. You identified what kind of industry and what are the customers, the pain point, how you go about building, the funnel, the credibility, everything. I think so far it's been great. So let's just get one question. So we'll have like 14, point of views.
Right. So I have questions from Preksha, Subranil, and Ram Teja. So I'm starting to address them. Once I complete that, we can have more people ask questions. Yeah, fantastic. So Subranil, my suggestion to you is look at your quality of leads, and with the leads that you've got so far, do some lead analysis to understand which channel of leads have worked well for you, which have not worked for you from a quality of leads. You may want to relook at the channel for investment. For example, if you have a channel on Just Dial, is Just Dial throwing you enough leads or not, right? And if they are not, then that may not be the investment that you may want to renew forward again, right? From today you should, I would again recommend, since you, by the way, you explain what you do, you focus on slightly higher ticket size, and for your ability to close a higher ticket size value, you should definitely invest, a lot of your testimonials and credibility online, on your website, on social media. That's definitely, for you to help, for you to drive also some new generation of leads, and also to help build your credibility in the digital space. Price war is an interesting, opinion if you're in a commoditized product, but it's a choice. How do we win a price war? If you and your competitor are putting in the same market price, then the only lever that you have is your entire customer experience that you are giving it to the customer. That how having why your price is higher, for example, is because you're giving a dedicated project manager to your account, to complete up this particular project, and that could have better chances of success, right? So
Vimlesh, just quick
yes.
point. Is there any other sources of lead generation apart from the couple of that I told? Any suggestion that you want to share or something? Any other?
So there are, there are different strategies, right, that you can make use of. So your social media marketing can help you arrive, even in social media, what you do, whether you do videos, whether you do blogs, in videos, whether you're doing videos for education, you're giving videos on tips, all these are strategies that one can make use of,
Okay.
right? So we can, I can have a separate deep dive discussion later as to what strategies will work, will give what kind of results. But at an overall, definitely, social media is a great, way to build out your brand and to build credibility, which will then help you to generate leads.
Okay.
Your highest value for return on investment is when you are getting a lead when you spend nothing. You're only spending time, but you're not spending money. But to do that, you need to build enough credibility on social media.
So
And
our
then,
spend, sorry to interrupt you, Vimlesh, just quickly, I don't want to take others' time. So I'm spending around 15 to 20K per month on the digital actually, on across all the platform. So I'm not sure whether this is a good amount or is a bad amount, but but that is actually the budget I have kept it for that. So
okay,
we can take it offline in detail.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Sudhir.
Thanks for the information. The PPT was fantastic. So I just wanted to highlight one thing is, see, most of the interior design companies right now, from it might be a small company or it might be a biggest company like Liftspace or Homeland or XYZ companies. Okay, most of them are into online business, online digital marketing. So it might be Facebook or it might be Instagram, and nowadays we are going for LinkedIn and a couple of other platforms also.
Right.
So how do you think that one individual can stand out and show that okay, that we are the right people for that customer? Because what is happening, or what I have seen in the market, is maybe a 5 lakhs will go to a bigger company, or 30 lakh ticket size goes to a smaller company where they'll not be able to handle. So there is a lot of confusions like this. So can you give us a little bit highlight on that?
My suggestion is, so this is a common problem everywhere, right?
Yes.
When there are plenty of options to choose, that's where, when there's no organized way to filter, search, and choose, right service provider, customer always has the option to choose, and everyone has an opportunity to, to sell their products and services, really there, right? So my suggestion is, you look at your past customer data.
Okay.
I showed you that framework, right? That ABCD
Yeah.
framework. put that customer data on that framework.
Okay.
You see where have you generated maximum profits with least amount of work to acquire them, and maximum amount of profits with slightly amount of work that you have acquired them.
Okay.
Once you do this analysis, now you will find 3-4 types of customer segments, whether it is B2B or B2C. In B2B, offices, large offices, small offices, which industry, pharma, non-pharma, IT, non-IT offices. Some of these customer segments now will start coming out for you.
Okay.
Once you do this, now you tailor your entire communication, which is now your new positioning statement, to focus on that.
Okay.
Because your money that you spend on marketing, it is for acquiring amazing and bread-winning customers.
Correct.
Not for convenient and deal-making customers.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right? You may get a school to give you some 10 new bench project. School is a great segment, but now the 10 is come. That 10 benches has come in as he's a convenient customer who has come to you.
Correct. Yeah.
But can you assess, because you're in the school segment, he's come. But does this customer have a potential to become breadwinning or an amazing tomorrow? If yes, then definitely pick up that. Now, why did the school come to you? Because now you're positioning yourself that you're an expert in school furniture.
School furniture, yes.
Because your current customer data tells you that you have sold to schools or educational institutions and you have made the maximum profits there.
Correct.
So rather than making your communication for everyone, focus on the ones that sit in your amazing and breadwinning customer buckets.
Okay.
That will increase your chances of getting you the right leads and also help you increasing in conversion.
So, fantastic. Thank you, Vendish.
Sure. Welcome. Right. We had as a startup individual, how much time and amount to be reserved for marketing? This is really this question is asked by Vance Pal, and I'm responding to them directly here. So this is a direct function of what you do. So marketing is also, you should have the ability to run series of experiments, right? So today what you communicate may give you results or may not give you results. So you got to change your communication message and also see if if that is giving you results. So you may say, for example, you run a month-long poster on something that you do very well. Always focus on your strengths, on what you do very well. Always your marketing should be focused on what you do very well, right? Or a great product that you have got in partnership with, and in and out of that product that this is best suited for this particular industry. So run a poster campaign, for example, without any money. My suggestion is always start be frugal. When you are self-funded, when all the money is coming from your services only. Run a campaign, run a poster campaign. Tell your friends and family to spread it, share it on a lot of word of mouth. See what's the engagement coming in. Remember, in social media, the likes do not determine the value of your message. Are conversations happening on that post that you put? If you're running a simple campaign, you're putting a nice poster, you're putting it on Facebook, you're announcing about your business and this is what we do, blah blah blah. Are you having conversations on that post? If you're having no conversations on that post, then it's the purpose is that you have only done awareness. There is no engagement on that conversation. People, when they engage on your conversation, now that is what is called engagement, which you can convert into leads. Just having a post and only number of likes has got no meaning. So don't go in the falsehood that I got 70,000, I got 100 likes, 500 likes for my post. It means nothing. Engagement is what you have a higher chances of converting engagement into leads. So that is what I would suggest. Spend zero to little about marketing. Showcase yourself. Do a lot of videos today. TikTok is an amazing story that has happened. Your videos can go viral. Small snippets of yours can go viral. Look at why some TikTok videos have gone viral. You can follow a same script to make your brand stand out in this crowded space. And the beauty is, once you record a small video, the same video can go on multiple channels, right? You record a video on your phone, that video can be uploaded on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, right? So you don't have to keep producing several content over it, right? I hope that answers that question. Can commercial leads be generated through social media? If then, yes, how? Yeah, commercial, all social media companies will love you if you spend money on them through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, even TikTok now is allowing advertisements through them. But then, Facebook gives you a very good, Facebook and Instagram gives you super good targeting options. When I mean targeting, which geography, which age group, and how much budget, what are the keywords that you're trying to advertise on, and these you have to link it up with a nice website or a landing page, right? That the customer is able to come and get more information. So always remember, when you're spending money on an advertisement campaign, what is the purpose of that campaign that you're running on? Get your definition of why of that campaign defined very well, and put some objectives on it, and then start your campaign, because that is when you'll be able to truly see that, okay, you ran your campaign for 15 days, so much money got burnt, so many people came and saw your post, they came and liked your Facebook page, but then what happened? Did they actually come to your, did they share with you what is their requirement? Did they share with you your email ID and password and so on? If they have not done that, then that may not have been a very successful campaign, right? So if you're targeting a lot of B2B companies, then LinkedIn is a great market, especially startups or technology companies. So LinkedIn is a great business. If you're targeting traditional businesses, most of these businesses are not on LinkedIn, right? A lot of schools are not on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn may not be a great channel for you to advertise for generating schools businesses. Universities, master's program, these are the type of institutes that you're talking. Yes, these guys are on LinkedIn, right? So choose your channel where your customers are. So that's where, if you go back to my presentation, you should know where your customers are spending time, right? So accordingly, spend money on that channel. We had one question from Ram to say that, hey, I run a factory, what should I do? Yeah, you run, running a factory, you run the biggest, operations, overhead, and also the channel, the opportunity to produce something greater. You always have an opportunity to do direct marketing, which is a direct sale. Somebody comes and places you a large order. But bulk of your business, in my opinion, is going to come through partnerships, right? So build a very strong capability to partner, help people to make partnership with you very easily, so that you're able to produce maximum out of your factory. The one thing, if you're running a factory, is you got to look at your entire utilization, right, as one of your important metric, right? Are your factory and your people being efficiently utilized? Are they running efficiently as much as possible? So the amount of partnerships that you do will increase your value. for your factory to be known to more people, not only in Bangalore, but outside of Bangalore as well, you need to spend time on marketing. You need to spend time on marketing, to ensure that people know what you do, what machines you have, what's your turnaround time, why you are the best manufacturer of your product, and how you are so different in the market than somebody else. So use some of these methods to communicate your story out, your pitch out, so that more people, even outside of Bangalore, are able to know that you are the right partner for them to, to manufacture their goods. Uh, how do freelance designers get leads, and how can they convert leads into customers? I think today there are a lot of options for freelance designers. I think just in this forum, being in this forum is one great way to do it. Thanks to Kiran. There are a lot of such communities. BNI is a great option for freelancers. You can also associate yourself with a lot of online designing company. You got companies like LiveSpace. You got companies like Guppy. These are places which welcome freelance designers. You can also make yourself available as an international freelance designer, right? So there are international websites. I don't know a name of my mind right now. I'm not able to recall that name, but I did that research when prior coming to this call. But if you do your website research, you will definitely get a lot of insights on how you can make yourself available as a freelancer for some international design work as well. Yeah, Kiran has mentioned Dribbble there, right? Manoj has put in, how do I build credibility apart from testimonials? Customer is number one. Number two is your community with with your rewards and recognition. Your associations. With whom are you associated? Right? Are you a CIA associated member? Are you are there any small and medium industry associations that you're part of? So all these help you to build some credibility, right? Definitely awards and associations. For example, I don't know if banks run this thing for your segment or not, but saying that we are proudly the banking partner with, we are the interior design partner for banks, right? So large institutions will also give you that credibility. Should we invest in new business related to interior business? I don't know what that means. But if you are from this industry and you know where this is moving, and you see an opportunity to make high returns on it, definitely you should look to invest. I mean, it's on your risk appetite, but if you can, I mean, that's my opinion. That's all I would have to say on that. Great. I think if there are no more questions there, any last minute questions? We are at 6:05. I think we can take this up for another 5-10 minutes because we also started 5-10 minutes late. As a forum who says we are collectively accountable for the work, I think that's if you are doing, in my opinion, as if you're taking the badge of ADH and then approaching a sale, then definitely yes. If you're just couple of you people coming together and trying to close a deal, then the biggest one's credibility is at stake, right? So if you're taking work as a joint venture of ADH, right, then the ADH commitment will come into play, right? Then the brand of ADH is the one which will either gain or which will lose that credibility, right? And then, that's a wonderful strategy, right? That we are part of this group, and from this group, we have access to X amount of people. There are no, we have this commitment from our association. We will ensure that things go well at all points of time. The association takes care of any grievances of any members that come in. So you can use ADH as a great way to build credibility, but also remember, with associations, it's a blessing and a curse, right? So everyone has to commit in that association to make it happen. Only then the power of that association, can be leveraged by everyone. Yeah, absolutely. So any other? I hope this was useful. I'm sharing a lot of my perspectives as an outsider. I don't come from this industry, so yeah. Ram has a question. Yeah, Ram.
Yeah, sir. I would like to ask one more question that would contactless program work for our business? Like, would customers agree for a contactless sale because of this COVID? Can you suggest some contactless program kind of a sale where reach into the customer? And as an outsider, do you or as a customer, do you think the customer would like to close and negotiate the deal with meeting?
I think today, what is going to emerge is definitely contactless is a great, way to say that you have sorted your business, you have figured out your business, that you will have very minimal interaction in person with the customer, right? And yes, contactless will work. The way it will work is customers will demand that don't do work in my house. I'm not going to allow carpenters to be in my house for 8 hours a day. They will demand that you do all the work outside. You only assemble and do your fitting here, right?
Okay.
So that's going to be the way a lot of customers are going to change the way they demand services.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Wonderful. So I think Kiran, if you can, you just raise your hand and come, Kiran or Subranil, one of you. We can, if there are no more questions, we can. Yes, somebody had asked a question on the PPT. Yes, I'll be more than happy to share the PPT. I'll put it on the WhatsApp group after this call. Yeah, Subranil.
Thank you so much, Vimlesh. I think relevantly, I think probably what I understood, you just validate my understanding that summary of, I think, more of digital presence at this point of time for the whatever the business is that. I think that will bring the credibility also. I think that will also ensure that kind of filtration that we are looking for. Is my understanding correct?
Yes, definitely digital you have to increase. Website, blog, your voice your opinions on what your industry is facing. Even if it's your on personal Facebook page, be active on your Facebook page from your work point of view. Now now people are slowly moving back to work, right? Now people are also moving around in the city. So all these days we all were going through our emotions and figuring out how to manage this lockdown times. But now is a time where every post of yours on social media, ensure that it is somehow related to your work. Right? Hey, this is what we are doing in our office. This is how we are welcoming our employees back to the office. We are maintaining social distance in office. When we are going to customers, our employees are also wearing PPE and then going into the customer's location. Right? There's a great video. There's a great social media post on how Urban Clap, for example, Urban Company now is offering home saloon services. and that guy is completely on a PPE equipment. That one picture with a customer in his house getting a haircut done is a great story for people to trust Urban Club to get male salon services offered now. That post has gone viral. So there is another post of a sanitization company where their whole employees are on PP avatar, and they are sanitizing offices. Right now, who put this post? This post was put by the sanitization company. That this is how our employees are protecting themselves and are protecting the customer's premises when they do their work. So these are all great stories on social media for you to showcase that you are a very aware and forward-looking business to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we've launched that more of work from home kind of pre-made designs for the offices.
Correct.
So, I think Santosh has raised their hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think we'll take this last question and we'll look to close now, right?
Hi, Bimresh.
Yes, hi, Santosh.
Yeah. See, this is about the brands. Today there are big brands, and then I've seen the quality of the big brands. So we are able to deliver a better quality than them. So, but at the end of the day, the customer always choose a brand versus an individual or a small studios. Yeah. How do you really see that how we can convert these issues into our favor as an individual versus the the big brands?
So when you say a brand, can you give me an example?
Space, there is Homeland, there is Design Cafe, which actually I'm also working for them, or any factories that are also working for them. But we are seeing the material, we are seeing what they are using, all substandard, I would say, in certain ways.
Sure.
But even though we tell them that we can give you better material, better quality in terms of finishing, in terms of the durability of the material, but still, a lot of people facing the challenges.
Yeah, sure. So that's again comes from your entire transparency point of view. See, the brand is in the imagination of the customer's mind, right? Why people are able to recognize Homeland today? Because they have spent a lot of money on their marketing and branding point of view. Now, how you can compete with them is to build your brand with the limited amount of money and budget you have on your credibility, right? On various forums. So when you walk to a customer, when you're working with a new customer, the biggest challenge that all of us face is are we a known brand or an unknown brand, right? Are there ways that we can showcase customer testimonials or awards and some of the work that we have done? Those become a great way to to kind of win over that hurdle right now. End of the day, it is all about transparency. When you're fighting, with the mind of the customer, to say that can you actually showcase some actual material to the customer at the time of your initial conversation, right? To say that you know what, this is exactly what we will do. This is the product that we are going to use if it is demonstrable. Else you look at service guarantees. You increase your service guarantees. If Homeland is doing 1 year guarantee, then you may have to look at a different number of years of guarantee, or a dedicated service that you're always available for service, and so on. So you'll have to use these differentiators to win over those type of deals. In the interior business, I can't see the end product until the project is done.
Yeah.
Right? My entire reliability is only on past experiences, and past experiences comes when you give me access to the customers that that I can trust, or I have to rely on the internet information to build your credibility. So that's where in your interior design industry, building credibility is so very important, because the amount of deal sizes are also big and the time to complete a project is also big.
No, we have seen, they beat you on the prices because at the end of the year they can afford to lose 100, 150 crores. No.
That's a funded business. So you'll have to use some emotions with your customer.
Yeah.
And not all deals you might win, but then that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't want you don't, as I said in that framework, right? You don't want a deal-making customer to come to you and then squeeze your life out of you.
Yeah.
Right.
One more last quick question, and then is the business location really matters?
It matters on the mind of your customer, not for you to execute it.
Yeah.
So it's all about our conviction, right?
Yeah.
So if you believe that location matters, that will come out when you talk to the customer. If you believe that location really does not matter, I will execute project anywhere on this earth.
Yeah.
When you talk it to your customer, it comes out in your body language.
Yeah. Because traveling in Bangalore from one part to the other part is already exhausting. So they're not keen to come to the factory and see the material. So in that way, probably a lot of people would be facing similar issues. No, yeah. Even though they like the design, they trust you, but because of the proximity, okay, he's only 5 kilometers away, the other guy is 50 kilometers. So then I feel that
So that is where you can do some research with your customer when you're talking to them.
Yeah.
Right? If the customer is already traveling a lot of distance daily on their work, then definitely on a weekend they will not want to travel again. Right? So then, is there a way that you can bring some factory samples, to their, to where they live when you meet up the next time?
Yeah.
Is there some, or can you do a live video demonstration of your factory?
Yeah.
So look at all these ways. So the way for us to beat large competition is work on the emotion, work on the fear factors of why they will not choose us. That will help.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. I think this was a great conversation that we had. Thanks, Kiran, for for asking me to come and talk to this group. Been my pleasure, and I look forward. I'm available as part of the WhatsApp group. You can also ping me one-on-one. I can help you with whatever knowledge you have. You want a detailed your company specific strategies, then we will pick it up as an as a consulting engagement, and we can work with your growth as a specific objective, right? So once again, thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience today with a lot of active engagement, and I hope you can take away some ideas, some thoughts. As an outsider coming, and sharing some ideas on what's working on the rest of the world, that might work, with your world as a traditional industry. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend. Stay safe.